Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Very good day to you wherever you are across the lands and maybe even over the beautiful seas. I'm Hawa Solomon, and remember you can watch us wherever you are, stream it on www.hilaal.tv, and of course we are on the DSTV platform of 347, and catch our uploads of all the shows on health and wellness on YouTube, Instagram, as well as our Facebook, various social pages. Stay with us for the next hour in our different edition studio in Cape Town, the very sunny mother city, beautiful Table Mountain, blue skies, and even bluer oceans here, mashallah, is where we are today. This week, as we look forward to Wheels on Heels. You have been hearing about them and what they've been up to, their plans for this big day of the 4th of December, inshallah. But in studio to tell us more and to get more into it, profiling Wheels on Heels, is Dr. Elias Parker, who's in studio with us. Assalamu alaikum to you, Doc.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How nice to be in a company after many years. Good to have you in Cape Town, by the way.
I know.
And maybe just a little correction, it's wheel to heel.
My correction.
So we're wheeling on a bicycle for the purpose of healing. So wheel to heel, there we go.
Wheel on the bicycle
to heal.
Yeah,
the process of the wheeling is going to go for the healing of people inflicted with disease, inshallah.
And I'm sure you've spoken about this,
yes.
And profiling, the whole concept, the name, and looking at it. And of course, we would love to have, and alhamdulillah, having you in studio with us as a feature on the health and wellness show, because there is so much more than just cycling, and there's some history behind this. So alhamdulillah, we know that you've also had a tough journey with cancer, being hit by your family. Tell us just a little bit of background that we haven't quite heard, or that you touched on yet with Sheikh Chad as well, for our viewers that haven't heard the whole idea behind Wheel to Heal.
Well, I think it all started, with one's ability, or rather inability at times, to deal with a sense of loss. And because health is such an important component of our sustenance, of our daily lives, that we sometimes question the high prevalence of cancer, for example, in our community. A lot of times, people say it's what we eat, it's the way we live, it's the radiation. There's such a conglomeration of substantiations that's been put forward for the high prevalence of cancer. Be that as it may, the fact of the matter is that we are all affected in such a way that the sense of loss has many a times overtaken people's abilities to deal with it. So how do I cope with it? And I hope that I'm coping with it. But what happened in my case, Hawa, is that I've got 5 daughters, as you know. 2 were married just before the wife was diagnosed. And within a year after she passed away, the other 3 got married. So, and then my mom used to stay with me, and she passed away. So within 32 months, 7 women left my house. So there was clearly a void in my life.
Sure.
A void that you wrestle with yourself to try and, because we men are very proud of our, we're very egotistical in that way. No, we can deal with it, but you don't. You battle with it, and you mismanage yourself in such a way that you don't realize how you actually harm yourself. So I felt that what I need to do is maybe I need to become involved in some kind of a sporting event. I started running, and I used to gym sort of infrequently up till then. Took part in a few races, and then because I've got a history of a bad back, back played up again, and went to the orthopedic surgeon, who told me, no ways will you ever run again, because that impact is going to be dislodging the fused vertebrae. I've got a fusion of my L5-S1 vertebrae.
Sure.
And then he recommended, Elias, hop on a bike. And that's what I did. So in cycling, I must say, during this expedition of cycling, and I have to point out, the nephew of mine literally took my hand, put me on the bike, showed me, held the bike while I was taught how to pedal, etc., etc. So that was one phase, and I started cycling independently and on my own, and started enjoying it. And during this process, I met guys that I probably knew, but not personally, and I met a few new chaps, new friends, and we just gelled as a group in the most fabulous way. And I have to say this, Hawa, that the camaraderie, the compassion, the brotherhood that permeates between co-cyclists is unprecedented. And I think you said your husband was a cyclist. So you will understand what I'm saying. There is just such a love that oozes through this bond and this group. And we started spending a lot of time together. And then as they sort of knew me better and more deeper. They found out about my late wife and who she was and the impactful role she played in my life. And then one day somebody just suggested, so why don't we do something in her name? And I think that was enough for me. I percolated the idea in my head maybe for another couple of days, and then I conceptualized the idea of Wheel to Wheel. I said, fine, in order to commemorate her memory and to cement her name, maybe we should do something that will benefit those like her that suffered of cancer. And what better way than to raise the money to help those people that are unfortunate enough to be inflicted with cancer, but even more unfortunate that they don't have access to treatment.
Yeah.
I mean, and we focused then initially on the rural areas. I mean, close on to 23% of people who die of cancer in the rural areas don't know that they had cancer. Or for that matter, it's detected so late that they are told they got 2 weeks and 3 weeks left. So there's either very late detection or no detection. And I think that's the area that we thought we want to get involved with. And hence, and then I also has to mention one of my co-cyclists is a gentleman that was born with polio, was involved in a life-threatening accident about 13, 14 years ago. And when I say life-threatening, I mean this. I mean, I remember me and my late wife went to go see him in the Strand Hospital where the accident happened. And on my way home, I said, no way he's going to survive. Alhamdulillah. 14 years later, he's a hand cyclist. He's done 9 August.
A hand cyclist?
A hand cyclist. And he's undertaking this 600-kilometer journey from Mossel Bay to Cape Town with us.
I think I have seen this video.
You probably have seen it.
I've seen the video and I've seen this hand cyclist.
Yeah.
I haven't, even doing the cycle tour many, many years ago, there's few and far between where you'll find a hand cyclist.
I think he's one of the very first in our community to have undertaken the journey.
Yeah.
So, and hence we're raising money, and his wife, incidentally,
is he able to use his legs though?
Not functional in the cycling phenomenon.
But he's using his hands.
Purely his hand. So,
phenomenal.
And his wife, as I said, like my wife, she died also at 49 with multiple sclerosis. Hence, we're raising money for cancer and multiple sclerosis. You know, the proportionality thereof that we will probably decide after we've completed the journey to see how much we're giving away, etc., etc. But that's the essence of how we conceptualize the idea, and we're now in the process of hopefully living the idea.
All in between this, training's been happening?
Oh yes,
I mean, there's quite a distance.
I must say, it's never been done. Nobody knows. You only know what you know. You don't know what you don't know. So nobody has done 7-8 days of averaging 90 kilometers per day on consecutive days. Nobody's done that. So we started training, and we've been very fortunate in that when we had our first meeting, it was just a random calling of people to a meeting to discuss an idea. And alhamdulillah, Allah was so good that those people that embraced the idea turned out to be some very avid cyclists, very experienced. In fact, I call them very superior cyclists. They're next level cyclists. So they're the guys that take cycling to the next level. We probably, I call ourselves social cyclists. They've analyzed and broken down the essence of cycling to the level of how you should rest, when you should rest, what is the exact quantum of protein and carbohydrate you must ingest, etc., etc. That's the level to which they've perfected the art.
The cyclistology almost.
Well, absolutely. They've literally, taken it to a level where at times it becomes unbearable. But nevertheless, we're very fortunate that we have them. So, and then we've got some guys, that have taken upon themselves, besides the nourishing aspect, to train us. And I must say, they've done an absolute brilliant job in making sure that, and I would like to believe, in fact, I spoke to one of the captains last night, and he said we are almost near ready to undertake the journey. So we started off by training by 40, 50 kilometers a week, and last week we averaged 260 for the entire week, kilometers in training. On Sunday we did 109 kilometers, and we climbed an elevation of, I think, 1,300 meters.
And somewhere in there you did a few Okaapseweg routes?
Oh, we did Okaapseweg on Saturday. Yes, no, we did all of that. We've done everything. We've done chappies a couple of times on single rides, chappies and Sekerbossie. We've done Okaapseweg a couple of times. We've done Kloof Street, and all the challenging, demanding climbs we've done, all in preparation of this journey. So, alhamdulillah, we're pretty confident, and I'd like to believe we are optimally prepared from a fitness point of view, we're just beseeching the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the safety and the protection on this journey, because we haven't, when we train, we're training on home ground. We know every pothole going up chappies, you know. This is unknown territory that we're going into. It's a weather, it's a wind factor, it's traffic. So there are a lot of risk-prone areas that we are
and you've
very
worked
cautious
out
about.
the route already.
Worked out the route. If you want to, I can give it to you.
Yes,
so
no, we definitely want to look at the logistics and the route, but also highlighting the cancer and the multiple sclerosis as well. We need to take a break quickly, Dr. Elias. When we get back, we chat more with Dr. Elias, who is the convener for this Wheel to Heal, as well as based here at Islamia Academia Library. The chairperson holds various hats, and he's going to rush off to his surgery as well. So we say shukr to him and the team who wasn't available to all meet with us today, but we'll see more of them, inshallah, as the time grows closer to the 4th of December and they depart for the Wheel to Heal journey, but more just after the short break. Stay with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. A very good day to you. I'm Khawasanu, and stay with me as we, on this health and wellness show, we visit beautiful Cape Town. As you can see, different studio, different sets. And with me, we have convener for Wheel to Heal in studio, Dr. Elias Parker. A beautiful story, as you heard within the first segment, and taking it to new heights in memory of his wife. So, Dr. Elias, welcome back. Shukran so much for that beautiful. And I think it was such an inspiration. I think from a male's perspective, just last month, we will do, a few months ago, we did with highlighting breast cancer, and then it was November, men and men's health. And now taking it and almost encompassing all of that, because here we have these men, these courageous men talking out about their journey of grief and hurt and loss. And then also the importance of knowledge when it comes to one's illness as well. So alhamdulillah, may we, myself included, and many other men, you know, come to the situation realization that it is from time to time, we need to talk about these instances and things that happens in our life, not just for ourselves, but also just to heal someone else that needs that discussion and to bring that out.
Very well said, Hawa. I must say that this is not about me, it's not about my late wife. It's about each and everybody that has passed on because of cancer. It's about each and everybody that has lost a loved one through cancer and multiple sclerosis. It's about people, for example, in the rural, remote areas who don't have the knowledge to even identify the probability that they might have cancer. It's about those people that we want to acknowledge and that we want to pay tribute to. Because at the end of the day, you know, one of the primary objectives, you know, that inspired us to do this is the point of realizing that we are living in a very unequal society in South Africa. And if we are going to ignore the plight of these people in the rural areas, then we be doing an injustice to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who promises us, who requests us to at all times try and relieve the strain of His creation, the stress that His creation is having. And in fact, He promises us that on the day of resurrection, you will be rewarded multiple times more in terms of relieving your stress, as opposed to the one person's stress that you relieved on this earth. So that is what brought us to making sure that we will address and we will pay homage to people that have lost their life through cancer by going and helping people that are in a similar situation. And I think that is something that is very noble, yes, but at the end of the day, we also want to increase the awareness of these people. So we've got Pink Drive, for example.
Yeah, and also we just think of, be good to your neighbor.
Absolutely.
And these people in our rural areas, informers, these are our neighbors as well.
They don't even have access to a hospital in a nearby 250 kilometers. So we've teamed up with Pink Drive. So our cancer donation will be given to Pink Drive and the oncology department at Groote Hospital. Now what Pink Drive does is they put these big trucks, you know, that is fitted with all the necessary equipment, the X-ray units, the scanning machines. They would go from town to town, and they would then randomly do scans on these women. It's focusing primarily on gender-based cancers. And they would then identify and isolate those people that might be possibly have cancer, get them to the nearest by treatment center, and get them on a treatment schedule. And I think if Pink Drive, for example, haven't been doing that for the last 5 years, many more people would have died far more earlier. So we believe if through our efforts, if we can add some days to the life of somebody, or for that matter save a life of somebody,
Inshallah.
it is purely for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So much important information that has come out also when I've been doing the show. So for me, I learned first, and it's brilliant, alhamdulillah. With the Movember content, I found out with regards to prostate cancer, how more it is targeted with men of African descent. And you think, why, how come it is that certain culture, people of certain races do get affected? But this is the stats, and
It's a
we should
reality.
realize.
We should learn and extrapolate valuable information from these stats. It's been a known factor for long that African men are, for some reason, predisposed to prostate cancer more than men on other continents. Whether it's tropical temperatures, whether it is lack of rehydration, we don't know. But this is what needs to be analyzed.
Absolutely. Now, focusing on this Wheel to Heal, it's a good name, and I had to wrap my mouth and my brain around it a few times. Wheel to Heal. So you're on the bike. I know there's some sort of mental preparation. This is that one has to endeavor in, thinking of not just getting on your bike, but for such long periods.
Well, very briefly, the journey would take us 8 days. Number one. Number two, we will be covering in excess of 600 kilometers. And number three, the total gradient that we would be covering during that 600 kilometers is in excess of 7,000 meters.
Yeah.
So that clearly is a treacherous schedule, a treacherous route. And you're right. Sometimes, I know the time is going to come when we try, and through the scorching temperatures at 12 in the morning or 11, we slogging up that hill, or that pass. A time is going to come where we're going to ask, what the heck am I doing here? Why am I doing this?
Why did I do this?
Why did I do this? But that is where the mental tenacity is going to come in. And I think the inspiration provided, the camaraderie of those around us, and as I said, those very supremely fit cyclists, they are there then to take us through this dark passage that might arrive. And that's also the reason why we've been so diligent in training, so that one can reduce the probability of that mental impact dragging us down or slowing us down or compromising ourselves. So it's been work in process, alhamdulillah. Fortunately for us, we've been aware and we've been conscious enough to identify those little spots, and we're working vigorously to undo them, inshallah.
So it's not just physical preparation, which is getting on the bike and doing chappies and okapsabe. There's the mental ability as well. Then there's also, I need to pack the right stuff. Where am I staying? So take us through some of the
talking about
the schedule
where
and
am I
itinerary.
staying, first of all, let me say that this is not just about hopping on a bike, 32 guys. No, it's far more involved than it.
So it's 32 guys.
32 cyclists, yes. We had to secure 3 permits for this. 1 permit as we enter each town from the local authorities, which alhamdulillah we have received. The second permit is when we enter the jurisdiction of the Western Cape, which is the Parow end or the Bellville end of Bottleray Road, where, I've been there, but I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly. But the moment we cross that point, then we are now under the jurisdiction of the Western Cape government and have to abide by the road measured protocols as laid out by them. That's another permit. And then finally, when we get together as a group, obviously there's going to be people to receive us. It's another event, and therefore we have to get another permit. And each permit is multitudes of pages. We had to arrange for the route, measure the route, find out exactly. We had to arrange, for example, accommodation in each town. We're looking at 40 people. The support staff is about in excess of 8 people. So we have to make sure that we are nourished in a proper way, that there's a balanced diet, that's a diet that is prudently driven towards cycling the next day and the day after that and the day after that. Balance in the sense, that we refuel intermittently at correct intervals, that we have a correct intake of proteins and carbohydrates, that we are alert to the point where the next day's ride must not be in your mind whilst you're doing today's ride. So there's a level of there's a level of awareness, a focused discipline that's going to be required that we've conditioned ourselves with. And alhamdulillah, so far, again, I'm grateful to a number of young people in the team who have guided us and provided us with the necessary information that facilitated this level of preparedness that we like to believe we've achieved thus
I'm
far.
sure they're excited about it.
Oh,
eh?
everybody is excited. I can't wait for it.
The awareness as well, which we are trying to create through shows like this, through the actual event. You're on your bike, and when you get to a certain town, people are going to wonder, why are you doing this? What's happening? How are you creating awareness through the cycle?
Well, first of all, we've arranged with the local authorities, and it's still work in progress, to receive us, have a type of reception there as well. We've got Pink Drive that's going to be coming with a branded vehicle and giving out handbills, because increasing the awareness of particularly gender-based cancers is important.
Yes.
We would like to leave a message that's hopefully going to make a very indelible mark on them when we leave, instead of just whizzing through the town because we needed to overnight there. No, we want to make a difference in the future. For example, if we can increase their awareness of how to detect for cancer, and as I said, early detection can result in the saving of a life. The other thing that we're doing is we're taking with us 400 food hampers. And at each town, we've told the local authorities to get 50 of the most deserving, most needy people, their families, so that we can gift each one of them with a food hamper. And so this is what we're doing in each of
So
these
it's not
towns.
just the 32 cyclists.
No, there's a
There
social
is a train,
upliftment of social
so
element,
forth.
an element of social upliftment that we have made part and parcel of this journey. At the end of the day, we want to make the difference in the lives of these people. And if a person has got cancer and he's undernourished, malnourished, or hasn't ate, before he can even seek treatment, he needs to fill his belly and have some kind of a nourishment. So we hope that this food hamper will provide them with food for at least 2 to 3 weeks.
So I want to just quickly check in what towns you are visiting and where will these events and of course these handovers take place.
Okay, first of all, we are leaving on the 3rd of December, which is 8 o'clock from Islamia.
8 a.m.
8 a.m. and people are welcome to come and see us off. But please keep us in your du'as. That's more or less what we want first and foremost, because nobody's done this before, as I said earlier. It's an unknown territory. We therefore need everybody's du'as for Allah to keep us in His protective custody. So we leave all by bus, and we would be reaching Mosselbaai, hopefully midday. Take a good rest, have an early night, early meal, early night, and an hour after Fajr the next morning, we'll be leaving Mosselbaai. 32, hopefully well-trained, focused, disciplined gentlemen on their 32 bikes, and we'll be departing Mosselbaai. And suffice to say, the first day is the most demanding day, I'm told, because we're climbing for something like 30 kilometers.
Sure.
You're going up an elevation of 30 kilometers. So it's the most treacherous day, but alhamdulillah, as I said, I'd like to believe that we'll be optimally be prepared for that. We would then reach Oudtshoorn, hopefully long before Dhuhr, and then we'll be unwinding, and then hopefully by 5 o'clock we'll be meeting the local authority with the 50 potential recipients for the food hamper.
Okay, so that will be your first stop.
First stop is Oudtshoorn.
For those handovers of the
food hampers.
and then of course the awareness which comes with it as
and then with us, as I said, always will be Pink Drive with their staff. They will engage the community, give them leaflets, try and upskill their knowledge about how to detect for certain cancers. And in female gender-based cancers, it's a fairly simple task, process rather, to detect for it. We just need to teach people, make them aware that you can actually do it yourself.
Absolutely. We'll continue this conversation with Dr. Elias Parker, the convener of Wheel to Heal, awareness around gender-based cancer as well as multiple sclerosis. More on health and wellness just after this. Stay with us. Welcome back. Assalamu alaikum and a very good day to you. This is Health and Wellness. In the beautiful city of Cape Town, as you can see, different sets, and immediately I just feel more enlightened inside. What a beautiful place this is. And in studio we have the convener of Wheel to Heal in studio with us as we unpack the journey of this awareness for gender-based cancer and multiple sclerosis. Welcome back, Dr. Elias. Shukran so much again for your time, and I hope inshallah that this a show like this doesn't just get everybody excited about the event, but for the ultimate cause of awareness around the objectives. So looking at Oudtshoorn, so that's where you're going to do your first handover.
So we'll hopefully sleep well the first night in Oudtshoorn, and the next morning, as I said, again, an hour after Fajr, we wish to leave not longer than an hour after Fajr because we want to beat the heat.
Yeah.
We would like to get done 2/3 of the journey every day by 11, 10 or so,
Okay.
So inshallah, and then we move off from there to the next town, which is Calitzdorp. Calitzdorp is reputably a very dry place, so again, it's going to be a challenge to get there, but accommodation has been arranged in each of these places.
Okay.
And we'll be doing the same thing there, increasing the awareness of cancer, engaging the local community, and the local authority hopefully will get us, as I said, 50 of the more deserving people to be the beneficiary of these food hampers. And I have to say that these food hampers are substantially formidable in that they have taken into consideration a number of things as we've been accumulating the items. It's taken into consideration what is the staple diet of these people, what is it that they would find most beneficial, what is going to be more durable to them, and so forth. So we're hoping, as I said, that it will last them for at least 2 to 3 weeks. And then inshallah, the next morning we move from Calitzdorp to a place called Ladysmith. And Ladysmith is one of the towns that we've got probably far more enjoyable accommodation that we've managed to unearth.
And that's the third day?
That's the third day, yes. And then the same process gets repeated on the third day, and then in the fourth day, inshallah, we move from Ladysmith to a place called Barrydale. And then from Barrydale, we move on to Montague, the very popular Montague.
The warm baths.
The warm baths. And actually, we've booked in at the warm bath.
Okay.
So I'm sure the pools are going to be overcrowded on that night. And then from Montague, we move on to Worcester. And Worcester to Paarl, and inshallah on the 11th, we will be departing Paarl for the home leg to Cape Town. Where we're hoping to conclude the 600-kilometer journey at Islamia College. And on this day, we've prepared we are in the process of preparing quite a festive, epic welcome for the 32 cyclists. So we are encouraging people, particularly the families and the friends of the 32 cyclists, to come along and join in the festivity, support the good work done by your chosen person that you've supported in the cycling tour. And on the day, maybe wife shouldn't even bother to cook because we've got substantial amount of food stalls on the day that you would comfortably
all around you at Islamia.
At Islamia, as you go past Islamia, just take a right turn into Dale Street, and then right behind the school, there's a massive field. We will be housing the whole endeavor.
The whole homecoming.
Well, it's a homecoming that I'm sure are going to be look forward to come the last day. Absolutely.
After that long journey, is it what is it, a 7-8 day trek?
It's an 8-day on the bike.
On the bike.
Yeah.
And your support staff, let's also not forget about that. If anything does happen.
Well, look, as I said, this is not just hopping on a bike. We, for example, need a lead vehicle that will in advance alert oncoming cars that there's an entourage of 32 cyclists coming on. Number 2, we need a sweeping vehicle. On the day, we don't know who's going to experience what discomfort. So in the event of somebody cannot continue for the day, we need to upload him into the sweeping vehicle in the bakkie. And then we also need an ambulance with a life support system, because anything can happen and we're going to be stuck in the middle of nowhere. So we need to make sure that we've taken precautionary measures in the inadvertent situation that somebody is injured or cannot continue or needs some medical attention. And then fourthly, the fourth support vehicle that we have is security. We're taking with a fully armed security. Criminality has been a major concern in South Africa, particularly over the last couple of months.
As well.
And cyclists in particular have been targeted. So we're taking a fully armed security entourage with us as well. So that's the support staff on vehicle.
Sure.
And then for our own arrangement, we've had to employ the services of a chef. That is going to be burdened with the task of nourishing us appropriately. As I said, appropriately in the sense that we eat the more nourishing things that's needed for the cyclist specific, for this journey. And then we've got
carb loading.
Carb loading is important, refueling appropriately at intervals. necessary. It's going to make sure that we experience some degree of comfort the next day and the day after it and so forth. And then there's a couple of more support staff. We're taking with a fully qualified bike mechanic.
Okay, good.
Because anything can happen on this journey.
A
breakdown or little
a tire burst or something.
So we've got, and then we've got physiotherapists that are coming with, because again, how many of us know? None of us has cycled 8 times for 8 consecutive days, an average of 90. It's the first time. So one needs to make sure that those muscles are in optimum condition, and maybe a rub here and there would be needed. So we're taking with a physiotherapist as well. And then we've got 2 to 3 further 3 gentlemen that's going with. They haven't done specific task, but they are support staff. They haven't a designated portfolio, but they're just there to do everything and anything that's required to be done. And I must thank them on your channel for their generosity. They're not cycling, but they're there for the cyclists. And may Allah reward them abundantly if we find, well, when we hand over those millions of rands to the true beneficiaries. And then we've got one more support staff. It's a ride manager. His task is to make sure that we get up early, that we have our breakfast early, that the trucks are packed up, and that we do leave early, and that we have sufficient rehydration on route and so forth. So it's a.
And of course, we're going to have updates on Hilaal TV.
Oh well, I'm sure
Can't forget about that.
I'm sure you wouldn't forget about that. So we're hoping to have. In fact, I may just want to announce here that through the good work of one of our cyclists who's got a very high-profile job at MTN, they're fitting one of our trucks with, I don't know exactly what's the term called, but something that will ensure that we have connectivity regardless of where we are, for as long as we're near the truck.
Yeah.
So we'd be able to have direct links up with Hilaal TV. And in my last discussion with your manager, Mr. Mahmoud Abu Zaid, we contemplated doing it in 3 segments: once in the morning, once midday, and once in the afternoon. I think that's your program? The afternoon?
Yes, the afternoon.
Yeah. So we'd be able to do direct live link-ups. We're taking a drone with as well. So we're going to have a very diverse presentation of where we are, what we're doing, all for the pleasure of our viewers, of the people that have sponsored us, that have supported us. I want to say that how this journey is all inclusive. We've just been chosen, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have chosen millions of other cyclists to do this. Yeah. So we consider ourselves very privileged to do this noble thing. And therefore we need to make sure that the benefit thereof, the reward hereof, goes and is distributed amongst everybody that even makes a dua for us. But the sponsors, the people that are going to sponsor the cyclists, the people whose 2 million rand we're going to hand over to the beneficiaries, they are the real heroes of this event. And we're looking forward to a successful event, because we've had great support. At times I feel we've been spoiled for success by even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because whatever we've requested has been forthcoming.
The first time ever of an event like this being done in the Western Cape, I think in Africa, 32 cyclists, 8 days, something like 6 or 7 towns.
Yes.
And
for the purpose
of
charity,
raising,
of uplifting humanity.
Before we go any further, and I thought about this earlier, but please, I want you to mention, I know it's 32 cyclists, but please can you mention their names, because it's not just individuals. If you can get to, if you can happen
I'll
to
try my
remember
best. I'll try my best. So it's myself, Elias Parker.
Yeah.
I'm the convener. Then we've got Abdurrahman Baks, who's the vice chairperson, and then we've got Anil Lala, who's the treasurer, and then we've got Bakar Zalgonker, who is the treasurer, and then we've got, okay, now I'm going to start with the captains. We've got Sadiq Mohammed, he's the captain. We've got several captains: Bashir Mushaji, Zainul Abidin Mauser, Noor Mauser, Niaz Mauser, 3 brothers. And I have to add here, their dad has been suffering with cancer, gets into remission, then gets it again, different types of cancers for something like 20 odd years, 28, 29 years. All right, moving on from there, we've got a gentleman called Elias, the youngest cyclist, Zainul Abidin Sahib, 22 years.
Oh, shit.
We've got Faisal Hunter. I'm just thinking, we had a meeting last night, I'm just thinking the way they were sitting. There is Ahmed Suleiman, and then we've got...
But we will put their names.
Abdullah Parker, there is Hassan Parker. There's quite a few. you know, in fact, if you tell me, I would have brought their names with. But what I want to say, a wonderful bunch of people. They've just embraced this concept. There's nobility in it, yes. There's reward in the akhirah, yes. But the fact is, they've made available 10 to 15, 20 hours per week to train. And we must never forget that this journey is being undertaken when the Soccer World Cup is on. They have forsaken their pleasure of watching the soccer. You know, so they have sacrificed tremendously. May Allah reward them in this world and in the akhirah.
And the reason why I wanted to focus on that was because when you mention a person's name, you sort of latch on with their family. So for the family also to be attached to this event and to create that awareness, alhamdulillah, oh, you know, I actually know that person. So shukr, alhamdulillah, we're going to see if we can get to more of this notes after that short break. Dr. Elias Parker in studio with us, the convener of Wheel to Heal, as we run through the last bit of information running up to the 3rd, 4th of December, up until the 8th, inshallah, when they will make their way back, the 11th mark, the 11th of December, where they'll make their way back to Cape Town. 6-7 towns, 32 cyclists in 8 days, alhamdulillah, something like over 600 kilometers. First time done in the Western Cape in Africa. But stay with us, we'll get more on Wheel to Heal just after this on your Health and Wellness Show. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm in the beautiful mother city of Cape Town. Alhamdulillah, shukr, I'm Khawa Solomon. As we wrap up our Wheel to Heal show in Cape Town studios, and in studio I have the convener of the Wheel to Heal, and the 32 team cyclists, 31 plus 1 hand cyclists, will be joining them for their 8-day tour starting on the 3rd of December as they leave the Islamia premises. Please be part of it, and we will highlight them as we go along as well. But to tell us more on how you can raise awareness and donate towards the food hampers, the team, or any sort of, not just necessarily donate, but just support as well. And of course, we want your du'as. Dr. Elias, let's chat about the team. The 32 cyclists. So
there's 31 cyclists, conventional cyclists, and 1 hand cyclist. So I'll just quickly read out the names of the cyclists. Sabas Harris, it is Wakar Zalgaukar, Rafiq Parker, his son Ibrahim Parker, Niaz Mauser, Zainul Abidin Sahib, forget the guys' names. Let me just check here quickly. Gilmi Titus, we've got Zainul Abidin Mauser, Jason Dietrich, Jason James, Ikhlas Sarkote, Azhar Parker, Dr. Suleiman Halen, Sadiq Paleka, Sadiq Mohammed, Rashad Harding, Noor Mauser, Muazzam Muqaddam, Hassan Parker, Faisal Hunter, myself Elias Parker, Bashir Musaji, Asif Ayub, Jason Dietrich, Anil Lala, Adnan Meyer, Abdullah Parker, and the Deputy Chairperson, Abdurrahman Baks. And the hand cyclist being Rafiq Parker. And then the last 2 would be Riza Kutbuddin and Adam Jainuddin. And as I said, people from different backgrounds, different ages. I wouldn't say who's the oldest, but the youngest is 22 years old. I'm not the oldest. The youngest is 22 years old. It would be nice, though. It would be nice to know what his age is, just to give us... Just turned 65. Oh, mashallah. About a week ago. Inspiration. Yeah, and then what an inspiration. The youngest, as I said, is 22 years old. Yeah. This group is a very diversely prepared group. Some exceptionally good cyclists. Then there are guys that are not there yet. And then we have at the bottom maybe the novices like myself, you know, who are social cyclists, but cycling for what? Well, I'm cycling for about 14 months. There are some guys that are cycling for 2-3 years. But just an indication of the type of preparation that's gone in. When I had a chat with one of the captains last night, he told me straight away, Doc, if we were to leave tomorrow, I would say that 90% of us are 90% ready to undertake the journey. Sure. So it's an indication of the level of commitment, discipline, and preparation that has gone into getting to where we are. The one other thing I want to mention, we've been reconstituted as a body not more than 3 months ago. And within 3 months, and this is why I said earlier, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been very good to us. Because we've moved remarkably well in achieving what we set out to achieve within the space of less than 3 months.
Shukr, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
And I must say, when you do come to Cape Town, if any of the scenic routes, you're going to find a cyclist. So people here in Cape Town, and I haven't seen that, I've traveled a bit of South Africa, that Cape Town is sort of the hub where the cyclists do actually, go out and train, and there's a ground for it, a good ground for it as well. And the love for it has really grown.
Oh, absolutely. And I think one of the reasons why I took, like a fish took water, I took to cycling was precisely because of the view.
Yes.
And people are asking me why there are so many other ways you could have raised money. Why cycling? Well, I'm passionate about cycling. It's preoccupying my life at the moment. Number two, imagine what you're achieving through this journey. You're increasing, you're optimizing your health and fitness, number one. Number two, you are experiencing the breathtaking view of possibly one of the more beautiful journeys in the world. Destinations in the world, Garden Route, Knysna, Mossel Bay, George, the view of this ocean, it's absolutely breathtaking. And then yes, we're hoping to raise 2 million rand. For my intake, it's a combination of so many inspired emotions that we're going to experience. There's just no way that we weren't going to do this. And I think cycling is probably the correct medium that we've chosen to achieve this objective, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. So now our viewers, people outside that are listening, that are viewing, and that even, find themselves overseas, how can they support the team?
Let me just say that this entire journey is divided into three segments. One would be the cyclist being fit and prepared, because you could harm yourself irreversibly if you are not fit, if you are not prepared for it, if you don't exercise discipline, because we could be dealing with temperatures of in excess of 40 degrees in that time of the year, in that region. So that's the first time. Alhamdulillah, we've achieved that substantially well.
Okay.
The second segment would be the logistics. The logistics, I would say we are 80% there. We've taken care of all our accommodation. We've taken care of all the protective measures we're supposed to take care of. All the permits have been delivered and is in our possession at the moment. So in terms of the route, we've sorted all of that out. So alhamdulillah, even logistics, we've covered it fairly well. There's one area that only a percentage is in our care and our control, but this is where the Ummah needs to step up and play their prominent role and give life to an idea that Allah commands us to support. And that is the funding, the achieving, the arriving at 2 to 3 million rand.
Yeah.
We've done our bit. Each cyclist has taken 3,000 rand. And I have to say that some of the cyclists are workers, but they love cycling. They love the idea that they're supporting through this effort. So each cyclist, before we even launch this event, each cyclist put in 3,000 rand into this fund. So before we leave, we will have in excess of 90,000 rand in this account. We are now asking the community to give us that other 1.9 million, to give wheel to wheel the other 1.9 million to be handed to the beneficiaries. The one important point I need to mention is every cent that we raise, every cent that is deposited into that account is going to the beneficiaries. Groote Hospital Oncology Department, Pink Drive, and Multiple Sclerosis South Africa. All other expense has been either taken care of by the sponsor or by the cyclists themselves. So the cyclists are bringing a huge endeavor to this exercise. How can people support us? We've read out the names of all the cyclists. Go to the website. The website is www.wheel2heal.co.za. I repeat that, www.wheel2heal.co.za. You'll find the profiles, what has inspired each cyclist to do this on our website. Choose your cyclist and sponsor him X rand per kilometer. Or choose X amount of cyclists for that matter. If you don't want to go through that route, simply make a voluntary contribution to the fund. Ultimately, we are just a conduit.
And they can do that via the website?
No, you can actually, the bank details are on the website.
Yeah.
I will repeat the bank details. It's Wheel to Heal, Al Baraka Bank, account number 786-00320395. I'll repeat that. Al Baraka Bank, name of account is Wheel to Heal, account number 786-00320395. And if you didn't have a pen handby to write this down, go to our website, which is www.wheeltoheal.co.za. At the end of the day, Hawa, we've done what is in our care. We've done what we could do, what we are supposed to do. And alhamdulillah, I must thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I must thank each and every cyclist, the supporting staff. We've achieved 80% of what we set out to achieve before we leave. What is now remaining is for people to support this event, for people to use this opportunity to create a better akhirah for ourselves.
Amen.
Do it in the name of a sadaqatul jariyah, of somebody that you know that has passed on of cancer. There isn't a single house today, Hawa, that hasn't been adversely impacted by the loss of a loved one through cancer. We know that.
Yeah.
We know the prevalence has been very rife throughout our communal life, throughout our family life. We are saying, here's an opportunity in memory of those people. Help somebody else that is currently finding himself in darkness as far as his health is concerned because of cancer.
And the food hampers are sorted?
The food hampers have been sponsored by a gentleman who does not wish to be named, but all 400 hampers have been sponsored. And may Allah reward him in this world, in the akhirah, and his business, and bring calmness and sukoon to him in his life.
Amen, inshallah.
But the final appeal, a strong appeal from the bottom of my heart, here's an opportunity. Just donate the money and it will reach its destination. You know, sometimes we give money and we make money funding available, but it's also important to make sure and to ensure that the money is actually used for the purpose that it's intended for. Maybe I just want to mention here that we've got an arrangement with Pink Drive, who's going to supply us on a 3-monthly basis the list of names of people that they have scanned and people that they have been identified with cancer. Those names, how successful they've been to get them referred to a hospital for nearby treatment. And we've got a designated person that's going to keep track of that, because handing over R1 million is the easy part. Ensuring that it actually is utilized in the most prudent way that it's meant to be is an exercise that we're going to follow through to the end. So we want to promise our viewers out there that every cent you're given will go towards the fund, and we will ensure that the money is employed for the purpose that it's intended for.
Inshallah. Dr. Elias Parker, we'll just have to leave it there, and we look forward to the event, 3rd of December, 8 a.m., leaving the Islamia campus, and everybody and anybody is welcome to come to arrive back the 11th of December, inshallah, with a huge welcome just down Dale Road here. And we're really looking forward to that. So shukran so much for your time. And of course, our viewers will have all the information necessary on the website, which is www.wheel2heal. Jazakallah so much, and assalamu alaikum to you.
Jazakallah to your good selves and the staff and management of Hilaal team.
Amen. Amen. Make dua for us as well, inshallah. So there we have it. Please do support this great and absolutely once-in-a-lifetime worthy cause happening here out in the Western Cape. Save that date, 3rd of December, 8 a.m. I definitely want to try and be here in Cape Town at the time. And follow their journey on our various times on Hilaal TV. 31 cyclists, 1 hand cyclist, and 6 to 7 beautiful garden route cities. They're going to do over 600 kilometers, and in each town where they will be staying over and handing out some food hampers. Yes, and do also follow the IMA for their various activities on their website. We have to wrap up for now, and don't forget to follow Wheel2Heal, www.wheel2heal, to donate generously, and follow them on their various social pages as well as they take their beautiful journey through the garden route. But for now, from myself, Khawas Salaam wa Assalamu alaikum, and have a great day.